My name's Bronwyn Painter, and I'm going to share what it's been like for me to be coached by Holly in every aspect of my life. I've been sitting here writing notes because there's so much to share, and it's almost dark, so I've set myself a deadline to just do this. When I met Holly, I came to Holly from a place of pain, like deep, long-lasting physical pain, and I had been exploring every kind of physical modality to try and address my physical pain. And someone said to me, maybe it's not just physical. And I had a real moment when I was running on the beach one day when I thought, like, this really is not just about my body. And I knew I had to do something different to, get a different outcome. And so I was introduced to Holly, and we started coaching the first day I met her, actually. And over our connection and time together, we have explored, honestly, every aspect of my life. And if you choose to coach with Holly, I guess my advice would be, don't hold back. Don't hold back. There is nothing that is off limits with Holly. And I can honestly say that every part of my life and my relationship and, also our family is better for I don't like to call it the work, but for the connection that we've had and the conversations and the things that I've learnt about myself. And so I'm going to share some of those. I like to say that a coach is someone who believes in you and sees your potential before you can see it yourself. I've always found it really difficult to explain the work that Holly does because it's not sort of just coaching. It's incredibly unique, in my experience. So I'm an occupational therapist. I'm a very mainstream health professional. And when I came to Holly, I was pretty sad. I was taking antidepressants. I was seeing a psychiatrist for anxiety and depression. And, I was very stuck in my story about having had breast cancer as a young mother, and very stuck in a place of holding on to that story from a place of feeling that was what made me special or made me worthwhile or worth being loved. And as I say those things out loud now, it sounds I feel so far from that, and that if nothing else had changed in my life, that is epic, but really everything has changed. And so with Holly, I have absolutely loved the process of what she calls unbecoming, which is separating myself from all the expectations and values and sense of who I was that really wasn't me. And so, like many people, I was a very big people pleaser, very focused on thinking a lot about what I thought other people, were thinking about me, trying to prove myself endlessly. I worked extremely long hours. I was unable to rest, unable to stop. Really significant social anxiety, to the point that I really could barely have a conversation with anything that wasn't about my work because that was kind of dominating my life. And so, I can look back now and it's been really hard. Like, let's not underestimate that. It's been really hard, but I absolutely am not that person anymore. And I can stop and I can rest and I can feel joy and pleasure and all these things that were really absent in my life. I have absolutely loved actually discovering that I have intuition, that I can feel connected with my body and the sensations in my body and understand, the wisdom of my body in reflecting my emotion and trusting my intuition, firstly finding it and then learning to trust it and learning to have my own opinion about things, to express my own opinion and not just kind of just agree with everyone else around me. I spent a lot of time, a long time, let's say 45 years of my life, really, probably pushing away emotion because it was uncomfortable. And, there are, in all of our families, emotions that are not acceptable. And so I've really only recently connected with the ability, or let myself kind of connect with feeling really angry with people. And I have loved Holly's guidance around learning to accept that all emotion is okay without judgment, and that is the journey of becoming whole. As she says, it's not about being happy all the time. Sure, I can feel happy, I can feel joy and ecstatic and pleasure, but I also feel the depths of despair and worry. And where I'm at now is I can feel those emotions without judging, without pushing them away and judging them and feeling like they're wrong. And that is a really big shift. So I've learnt to be more curious about what I'm feeling and thinking, and less judgmental. I know Holly talks about coaching in all areas of life, and so I wrote a little list of, some of the things that we've touched on. And as I said, nothing is off limits. And so we have absolutely explored big decisions, that I've made over our time together, changing jobs, going back to university, decisions about what's important to me, and how I spend my time. It was Holly who said to me, when I started my business, it was Holly who said, "I think you're ready." And I was like, oh God, really, am I? But someone who knows me so well to be able to say, actually, you are ready. And for me to get to a point where I was so sure of myself and so sure of my message. And, now I have a real sense of purpose about, I guess, a sense of knowing about what my purpose is, in this life, in this world. I think probably the most deeply impactful work we've done has been around my relationship with my husband. One of my very early text messages to Holly was saying, one of my goals would be to feel like having sex with my husband ever. And it wasn't like we were not in a loving relationship, but that part of our life was not great. And so it took me a long time to feel brave enough to kind of broach that really with Holly. But, that work has been some of the most amazing things that we've done. And, Russell, my husband, has come on several of Holly's retreats with me, and we've done some really deep, really challenging but amazingly rewarding work on our relationship. And so, those things impact our whole family. And, if nothing else had come out of this, that is amazing. Oh, yes. I've been really trying to explain, what is the outcome of coaching with Holly? And so, I want to say there's a few things that I can look at now and say I'm much more able to make decisions quickly, because I know what matters, I know what I care about, and I don't agonise over things as much. But one of the really amazing things for me is that through my conversations with Holly, I've learnt to have conversations about a relationship, about the way I interact. In the early days, I was really so terrified to disagree with Holly, because we definitely don't agree on everything. And that had always felt really unsafe for me and precarious in a relationship. And so to feel safe in having a conversation about, actually, I don't actually agree with that, and that's not what my experience feels like. And, for that not to be judged is amazing. And I've been able to carry that over into other relationships where I can talk about what it feels like to be in the relationship, not just kind of skirt around it. That has been a really big deal for me. And so it is really hard, and that's why I'm going on a long time. It is really hard to capture the enormity of all the areas of my life that are changed and are better and more comfortable and, just easier. Life is just easier. Thank you. And I want to say something also just really practically about the way you work, Holly, in terms of doing things over the phone, because that was really new for me. And when we started, I was sort of like, how is that going to work? I'm used to seeing people face to face. And I want to say, actually, it's really amazing having these conversations over the phone. Really amazing. And I think really comfortable. Like, it actually feels safer and I feel more able to say whatever comes to me. And it's very different to being in person with someone. So, if that's something that you're thinking, how does this work over the phone? It's actually really amazing. And so, for me, we've had a connection over a long time, and it is absolutely, without question, the best value investment I have made in my life. And, we have a financial advisor who very early on said to me, an investment is something that gives a return. A car is not an investment that just depreciates. So an investment is something that gives you something back. And, the investment I've made in coaching with Holly and investing in myself, believing in myself enough to invest has absolutely changed my life. I'm sitting here in our sanctuary that we purchased, and we are creating a whole different future for our family here. And so, Holly, I cannot thank you enough. We both know there really just aren't words, but, I love you with all my heart. And I also feel pretty comfortable expressing my love for people much more openly than I used to. So thank you for everything. And if anyone's watching this and thinking about coaching with Holly, it really, really is the most life-changing, affirming experience that I have had. So thank you.